I, a male teen, have a sister who's a younger teen. My sister was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia when she was 6 and had ongoing medical needs for 5 years. She's been healthy for the last 3 years and returned to normal. My parents put me on the back burner significantly, and they were not there for me. I was bounced around to different family members, or I was left alone. My birthday was forgotten for a few years, and Christmas was always about her. I was asked to put effort into ensuring she had all the gifts and joy she could get because it could be her last. I was miserable, and I know none of us were happy, but I really felt like I was basically there as a prop to try and cheer her up sometimes. She would ask for stuff, and they would move heaven and earth to get it, and sometimes it was stuff I had. Before she got sick, my parents had bought me this beanbag chair for my room that was probably more expensive now that I think about it, and they gave it to her. When I brought home a treat from school, they would ask or tell me to give it to my sister to cheer her up, and sometimes she would ask for it. When I didn't bring something home for a while, they would ask me if I ate it, like it was a crime I committed. We went to see Santa for a few years after she was sick, and I got a better cheap toy that we swapped because I couldn't have something a little nicer than her. Last Christmas, I got clothes while she got a new phone and switch skin. I had a birthday in June and saved to buy a gaming laptop. It was a lot of saving my wages and buying nothing, but I wanted it. My 2 best friends decided to forego buying me something and gave me money to get it, and they came with me to pick it up. Last week, my parents and sister were in the living room when I got home from school, and my parents told me and my sister wanted to play games with her friends, computer games, and they thought since I had a gaming laptop, I could just give it to her, since it would make more sense than going out and buying a new one. When I didn't answer right away, they said, "Oh, well, of course you could always share it between you." And I lost it. I started yelling and cursing. I told them, of course she should have it, and why the heck not? I went into my room, took my clothes, and said she should have all of that too. I said, why not take my bed and give it to her as well? Then I pointed out she had a new bed, and my bed was 12 years old, and I told them to take everything I own, since she deserves it all, and I don't deserve crap because I never got sick as a kid. My sister didn't say a word, and my parents were shocked, but then they were pretty angry with me and asked me why the heck I was behaving like that. Things have been tense since, though I still have my laptop. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your parents should have done a better job ensuring your needs weren't completely on the back burner. It couldn't have been easy with your sister being so sick, but meeting your needs was and is also important. I'm sorry it went down the way it did. You're absolutely in the right standing your ground. Look up glass children. This is unfortunately a pretty common family dynamic. And hide the laptop now. Sounds like that outburst was long overdue. OP, please sit down with them and spell it clearly to them. This is your laptop only. You worked for it, saved for it, and foregone gifts from friends to afford it. And no, it isn't, nor will it ever be shared. If your parents want a shared laptop, they should buy one you both can use, period. And that as of now, they need to change their attitude ASAP. Your sister is healthy, and they're huge idiots and negligent to you for enough years. They forgot they had 2 children and are embarrassed you called them out on their neglect. Those people don't feel embarrassment, just frustration the older kid doesn't get it. As a shadow sibling of a miracle sibling, I understand this experience. You built up key skills like resilience and independence due to their neglect. Your sister has learned to take advantage of you based on the behavior modeled after your parents. As soon as you move out, it gets better. As soon as they realize you never call, it gets better. As soon as you create your own family, it gets better. You have learned to expect nothing. Create some physical and emotional distance for self-preservation and keep moving forward. When I was 18, I, female 23, moved to the U.S. from my home country of Brazil to attend university. While in my second year of college, I was discovered by a modeling agency, and I've worked as a model ever since. Even though it's only been a few years, I've built quite a successful following and portfolio, and my profession allows me to live a very comfortable life. Last year at an event, I met a man named Jason, 50, and despite our age gap, a relationship blossomed. We have so many common interests, ranging from art, travel, and history to sports and cinema, and I've become increasingly attracted to him by the day. I genuinely love Jason and want him to spend the rest of his life with me. However, many people can't or won't see what we have. Because Jason is a very wealthy man, and probably because of my heritage, many people who see us assume I'm only in it for his money, or that he's suffering from a midlife crisis, when that couldn't be further from the truth. A month back, right after our first anniversary, Jason took me to introduce me to his children. His son, Adam, 26, was able to recognize our love and welcomed me with open arms, but his daughter, Jennifer, 28, did not take kindly to our relationship. She refused to shake my hand when I offered it to her, and throughout our introductory dinner, referred to me as a gold digger and told me that she wouldn't be speaking to either of us, me or her father, as long as we were together. Jason and I were hurt by this, to say the least. Last week, I saw Jennifer at her family party and approached her, wanting to clear the air. I told her the truth. I love her father immensely, for him, not his material wealth, and I want to spend the rest of his days with him. This didn't work, as Jennifer told me to screw off and call her when Jason and I broke up so that she could talk to him again. I'm wondering if I'm being unsensible here. You are the idiot. Her father's in love with a girl younger than his daughter. No matter how much you may be in love with him or disinterested, she may never accept you, and you should leave her alone instead of insisting. LOL, OP, respect your elders. If the children of the man you're dating are older than you, it's inappropriate. Let's be frank, women don't date men 30 years older than them for true love. Wow, you both share interest in travel, art, sports, and movies, which I'm sure he pays for. And those are some of the most BS passions you're lying about to make yourself feel better. Enjoy your lifestyle, but I hope that man makes you sign an ironclad prenup and you'll be replaced by a newer model later down the line. Good luck. And by the way, the responses of both kids suggest that you're not the first hot young thing their fathers brought around. Adam didn't recognize your love. He doesn't think this is worth the fight because you'll be gone soon anyway. So he'll welcome you and play nice because what's it to him? If you ever start moving towards marriage, Adam's responses may suddenly change. As for Jennifer, she's telling you that you'll be gone soon enough, so she's just going to wait you out and reconnect with her father then. She's not worried that you might stick around, which should tell you something. I don't drive and live in my forever house with my dogs. My kids are grown up and I'm a widow. I converted my garage into a legal guest house with everything a person needs when the kids visit. Independent washroom, kitchen, everything. My parents have recently asked me if they can move in with me. I agreed and talked to my kids to let them know that if they came for a visit, the garage was taken, so they'd have to stay in the house. My parents showed up on the appointed day, and the kids showed up with their families to help get them moved in. And they had already arranged for a hotel for one family, so we wouldn't be crowded. My parents were confused about why we were moving their stuff into the garage. I told them that's where they're staying. They said they thought they could move into my house, since I have 5 bedrooms. I explained that I have 2 bedrooms, since one room is my office, where I see clients, one is my private office, and one is my hobby room. The spare bedroom is mostly for my mutts. They said they wanted to live in the house, not the garage like Fonzie. I said it was a take it or leave it situation. If they didn't like the garage, they could move into a nursing home or something. They're upset that they're living rent-free in a private guest house that's entirely up to code. Not the idiot. Wow, your parents are spoiled. A rent-free, up-to-code apartment sounds pretty sweet. They can make other arrangements if it isn't good enough for them. Tell them it's my roof and you'll do as I say. But if you let them into your main house, it will become their house, and you won't be able to get away from them. My friend recently turned her shed into a beautiful guest house with kitchen appliances and a private bathroom. Her parents are currently living there, and they don't have a problem with it. They like the privacy, and they like being close to their child. If your parents don't like living rent-free in your guest house, they can look for a retirement community to move into that may suit them better. They want it to be in the main house for you to be their cook, maid, and carer. In the guest house, they have to fend for themselves. They probably want OP to move into the guest house too. OP, if you aren't in the habit of locking your exterior doors when you want privacy for yourself, your client, or whatever, I suggest you start. And I tell your folks to text you first if they want to come over to your house. No response means you're busy, and they stay out. I have a teen son, Nate. He's been in this friend group of 5, including him, since they were about 8 years old. We're white, and so are 2 of the other boys, but one is Middle Eastern and another South Asian. This is relevant. It was Thanksgiving the other day, and the 2 boys who aren't white don't celebrate the holiday, so I always invite them to ours. They usually come, and it's always great fun for the boys, especially since Nate's cousins are much older or younger. I invited them for the past few years, and they both came. My mom also brought her new boyfriend. I've met him before, and he seemed fine. He saw the boys in the living room and immediately went, "Now I know these 2 young men aren't yours." I explained to him that they were Nate's friends. He whispered something to Mom, but she just walked away. Okay, whatever. He stood by the boys the whole time, but they didn't seem to care and made conversation with him. I relaxed and left to do something. 20 minutes later, Nate comes up to me saying that Grandma's boyfriend is being weird. I go see what's happening, and he's interrogating the other boys about their true intentions with Nate and the rest of us. One of the boys jokingly goes, "Dang, you caught us," which sent him spiraling. I interrupted and dragged him to the kitchen, telling him he needed to leave. He was surprised, and I'm sure he was expecting me to at least give him another chance. But I've read enough stories to know that he'd say something even crappier later. Besides, I care about those 2 boys way more than I care about him. He called my mom over, and she begged me to give him another chance. She'll make sure he keeps his mouth shut. I told her I'm sorry, but I couldn't care less. She got extremely upset and said that I should send the boys home if they are so uncomfortable. Plus, it's a family holiday. I just shrugged, but she got annoyed and said if he leaves, she leaves too. I did hesitate, but ultimately decided she could leave too. Mom didn't take that well and said her boyfriend was just saying what they were all thinking, and it's about time those boys stopped infiltrating our family time. They left, and I was still fairly confident until one aunt and her daughter said that it's true that they and others don't like that these 2 boys are at every Thanksgiving and sometimes Christmas, and it's a little suspicious, but it's not a race thing. They said it was pretty terrible of me to choose random teenage boys over family, but I told them that they were welcome to leave, and they shut up. I don't know if that's what I'm doing, but apparently many of them feel this way. They all said that I was abusing my power. I can't tell if I'm blind to it, but I don't feel like I'm abusing anything. Am I the idiot for choosing these boys over family? Mom won't talk to me either way. Not the idiot. You were abusing the power by checking notes, deciding who is and isn't allowed in your home. Your mom's boyfriend was so out of line, and it was good for those boys and your own son to see an adult stand up for what's right, even if it meant Grandma was offended and left. If you had let him stay, it would have shown you condoned what he said. Does your aunt have any legitimate claims against the boys, aside from their mere presence at holiday gatherings? We don't get to choose our blood relatives, but we get to choose our family. These boys are so lucky to have you. Thank you for opening your home and heart to them. If your aunt said it's not a race thing, how did she explain why only 2 of the 4 friends were the problem? And OP, you weren't abusing your power. That's hilarious. It's your home. They're abusing the fact that they're family. As the homeowner, you have the right to kick out anyone who's disrespectful in your home. which is what you did in the case of the boyfriend. Your mom left your house of her own free will. Well, whoever your mom sleeps with that week isn't your family either. Your son's friends have been with him for half of his life and would be there for him and you when the rest of the cousins would bail out on you. Your family stinks. My siblings and I always brought friends home who had nowhere to go for the holidays, many of them international students or people their parents had rejected, and everyone always welcomed them. This happened 2 months ago. So I, 21 female, was supposed to go to a zoo with my dad and sister, 23. The UV index was supposed to be pretty high that day, so I warned my sister to bring sunscreen. The day came, she wore a tank top and hadn't applied or brought sunscreen. I offered to let her apply my body sunscreen before we left, but she refused and said it wasn't necessary. I offered to let her bring it in her bag, but she didn't want to carry it around. I wore long sleeves, so I only brought my face sunscreen to the zoo. Halfway through the day, she started getting burned and wanted sunscreen. I told her, sorry, no. This sunscreen is from Korea and meant for the face, so it's more expensive than body sunscreen. I offered her my flannel. I brought it for the evening, but it was still quite hot then, and she refused, so she ended up getting burned. She thinks it's my fault because I had sunscreen and refused to share. I think it's her fault because I warned her before we left, offered to let her use my sunscreen at home, and offered her a way to cover her back and arms. This is not the first time she's forgotten something and expected me to fix it either. Am I the idiot? Sunscreen is only important if you don't want to get burned. Your sister opted not to have sunscreen. They sell sunscreen at the zoo, though perhaps a little more expensive, and I bet it's not as expensive as the imported facial cream you still brought. After refusing to use sunscreen at first, refusing to put it in her bag just in case, choosing not to wear sun-appropriate clothes, and refusing to take your long-sleeve shirt, her solution is the one that costs you the most in price and inconvenience and lets her have no responsibility. Nope, she had options, was given options repeatedly, and even refused to buy some on her own. She's the idiot. At the end of the day, this is a grown woman blaming others for the consequences of her actions. This will probably be unpopular, but everyone's the idiot here. Yes, your sister is a moron, but skin cancer's no joke. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that the day at the zoo could have been the trigger for even one of her skin cells mutating and going cancerous in the future. I get where you're coming from with the product being expensive. I also use a number of South Korean products. But last month, when my partner forgot to put on SPF, I didn't hesitate to whip mine out and get him protected because I care more about his physical well-being than a consumable product.